Okay, thank you very much, guys, for joining. So today we are going to see different DataWeave questions, including the questions that I have been sharing in the Telegram group and other new ones. So let's start with this one. It says, how do you reverse the elements in the array below? So we have this array var equals to my array 1 to 5. So if I just bring it here and put my array here, so this array has elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as you can see in ascending order. So the question is, how do you reverse it? We can reverse it in a couple of different ways. One way is, we said when we index, we can index from, we said, we can index starting here. This would be 0 index, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Or we can also index starting from the end. The last one will be -1, the next one -2, and so on, up to the first one. So let's see using these different ways. Also, we are going to see how to use reduce and size of functions to reverse it. So the first one is, so when we index, like we can do from -1 to -5. If I do like this, as you can see, -1 is 5. So you see 5 is now the first value, -2 is next to it, which is -4. The index -2 corresponds to 4, and so on. So you can index it like this, but this one usually is not a good application because you may not know the size of the array. The size of the array could be variable. So rather than doing that, we can use size of the -5, since it could be -10, -100, and so on. We don't know. So what we can do is, the second option is from -1 to size of, I repeat it again. So size of my array is 5. Size of, it gives the size, right? So size of my array, I can do like this. So I mean, first let's see the value, what the size of my array is. If I just bring this here and paste it here, you see size of my array is 5. So I'm putting negative of size of my array. So this one is the same as this one. The only difference is that I'm not hard coding it in here. I'm using size of. So that is the second way to reverse it. A third way is to use reduce, or let's use order by first. So my array, just order it. We say to order it, we can order it using the index, and to order it in descending order, we put negative of the index, and the index is in, we can use just negative $sign, for example. So I can put order by minus of $sign. So this $sign corresponds to index, whereas $sign corresponds to the elements in the array we said. So this one is also a third way, second way or third way, as you can see, a third way. Consider this one way. This one, rather than hard coding it, we are using size of, and this one we are using order by. So this is another way to sort, to reverse the elements in the array. Now let's see a fourth one. With fourth one, we can use reduce. So with this one, we have my array, and we use reduce item, and so that now since it is an array, the accumulator, it will be initially, it will be an empty array, right? Because we need the output to be an array. If you are just adding numbers, this one will be 0, your initial value. If you are multiplying, we say by default it is 1, but you can have other starting values. If your output, final output will be an object, this one will be curly braces. If it is an array, you put square bracket, as we said. So now we can concatenate this one. So what we can do is we say to reverse. If we just put accumulator, append item to accumulator, it will not change. Like if I do like this one. If I do like this, as you can see, it doesn't change 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So since I am, one thing here is, since I am concatenating to an array, each element I will put it within a square bracket, right? That is what I am doing here. So accumulator initially is an empty square bracket. Then, like the first time, what it will do is it will be like this. It will be this one, concatenate to that one, like this. So it is 1. Next, concatenate 2. And next, this is what is happening, and so on. But we want to reverse it. If we want to reverse it, it is just reversing the order of this one and this one. So copy this, put it rather than accumulator, rather than concatenation of accumulator and item, I will make it concatenation of item and accumulator like this. This one also reverses the elements in the array. So we have seen 1, 2, 3, 4 approaches. The reason that we are practicing with different approaches is so that you can understand, you can remember and understand the application of the different functions, and you can have them on the top of your head, ready to answer interview questions. So that is one. Next, we have this one. How do you convert the given array to the output array? So what do we see here? I am on slide number 3. We have this variable. So let me copy it, and this one, I will remove this, or if any of you wants to see this, I will just put this one as question number 1, then indent this. Okay, and now this is for question number 2. We have question number 1 is here, Q1. This is Q2. So we have this array for question number 2. The question is, I put this as 2. So it says, let's see the output. The output is just every element on the same level. So flattened version of this one. We just use the function flatten, just consult the documentation again and again until you get used to it. So there is this flatten that gives you nested arrays, sub-arrays into a flattened array. As you can see here, we have this one is one element inside the original array. We have also this array that contains 1, 2, 3 elements. And when we use the function flatten, as you can see here, it returns the values like this, flattened into a single level. If we want to flatten it into a couple of levels, we have just to use like 2 flatten functions. The output of one flatten, pass it to another flatten function. And here it says it omits empty sub-arrays, so this value gets excluded. So anyway, we use flatten here. We don't need to spend much time here. So if I do here, flatten, do like this, as you can see, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. What we see here is this part has been flattened up to here, but this is again another sub-array inside the sub-array, and you will have a sub-array here. This sub-array also, if you want to get it flattened, what we do is this output, we just pass it to another flatten. So flatten, that means we use flatten 2 times. If I do like this, as you can see, I have all of them on the same level flattened. So this is question number 2. Question number 3, slide 4. This one is related to slide. So question is 2 and 3. So that's why I ordered it that way. We have reversing a nested array. So the values are 1, 2. Then we have strings A and B, and we have another element, which is an array itself, 4 and 5. So the question is, you flatten it and also you reverse it. So it is, we use just the previous two questions, combine them together. So here is the input for question 3. And we want to first flatten it so that 4 and 5 are of the same level as the rest of the elements. So flatten. If I do like this, I have this, as you can see, 1, 2, a B, 4, 5. Now we want to reverse this. We can use any of the approaches here. It just says use, test it with 4 approaches. Let's just use one of them because we have already done it here. So order by, just $sign negative. So if I do like this, it gives me 5, 4, BA 2, 1. Let's see, 5, 4, BA 2, 1. So we combined the functions we used in slide 3 and slide 2, flatten it, and then reverse it. That is called slide 4. Now let's go to slide 5. This question is new, I think. I didn't share this in the channel. So it says get unique names in the data below. We have an array of 2 elements. So let me get the data first. I will show you in DataWeave Playground. So if you go here, question 4, this is question 4. Okay. This here. Question 4. I'm not sure why doing all this. Okay, oh, my input. Oh, okay, this is because the variable name is duplicated here. That's why it is giving an error. So I can put this as Q4. If I added my input Q4, my input Q3, and this one also I can put it Q2, and this one Q1. If I do like this is the input data. And the question is to get distinct names from here. That should be very easy. So one thing is you have a couple of things that I want to remind you here to answer this question. One is under the tutorial here, we have descendant selector. So it is good if you remember, read again and again, practice with multi-value selector and descendant selector. See what the input is and what the output is, how we use them. So for the descendant selector, as you can see, it says the descendant selector, it is just double dot, as you can see here, is the perfect tool to use when you need the values of a certain key, no matter where they appear in a piece of data. So you can have data, nested data with key value pairs, and the values can have themselves can be objects with other key value pairs or arrays and so on. And you just want to get the values of the keys where of a certain key, wherever it is, you just use double dot to access that. So here, for example, they have this one, the input is here. And if you want to get the value of echo, on this level, we have this echo, its value is this one. Under sequence key also, we have, it is an array. And under it, we have this echo and this echo. And if we just want to get the values of echo, as you can see, we do payload double dot echo. So it gives us the values, all the values for echo. The same thing for the question we have here also. We can just, it is name, the key is name, wherever it is, we can use here my input double dot name, and then distinct of that. We can just use distinct of that. So let me come here. Okay, yeah, okay. I have, this is my variable. This one was question 3. Actually, see, I will share the project with all the answers. So it is okay if you can just follow along, and you will get the project from GitHub and you can practice it. Okay, so this is question number 3. So question number 4, which is slide 5, is getting distinct values for name. Let me comment this also out. And so what do we have here for name? We have John, Leonardo under this array. We have another array here which contains key value pairs. Leonardo and John are also repeated. So first, to get the name, an array of all the names, I just put double dot name. If I do like this, it gives me this array that you see. I just have this array, and I see John and Leonardo are repeated. Once I do like this, to get the distinct values, you can see the documentation for distinct by. So I can put distinct by $sign. So very simply, if I do like this, it gives me the distinct names in that data object, in the input data in here. We have John, Leonardo, and these 2 names, Jennifer, and they are not repeated. So what you have to remember here is you have the remember multi-value selector and descendant selector. Here we are using descendant selector to get the values corresponding to the key name wherever it is. It gave us an array. Remember also they return arrays. So from the array, I want to drop duplicators. To drop duplicators, I use distinct by $sign, and it gives me the distinct values that you see here. So I can, what we have so far, let me copy, paste it to Notepad so that it becomes easier to share. Also, so here, this one, it's as DataWeave questionnaire, save it as JSON file under soft class somewhere here. I will do it later. Oh, okay. Okay, let me see then. Okay. Okay, we can see that also. An array to an object is just, you can use reduce, for example. Reduce can solve lots of different functions. We can see an example at the end if you get time, but reduce is one solution for that. I don't like the color here. Let me see if I save it as another file, does it change it rather than that? What happens now? Yeah, okay. This one looks better. The other color was yelling at us. Okay, so we have question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, and the inputs for each question are also here as variables. Okay, now let's see the next question. Slide number 6. Okay, this one also is a new question. You can do this in multiple ways. Let me share the data with you. So this is an image to save you from typing it yourself. Since I have the data, I can copy paste it and share it with you. And come to chart here. Chart. This is the data. It doesn't look that good, but when you can copy it and structure it, just copy this and take it to your playground. Okay, so what do we have? Let me bring it, and this ones I will remove them. I have copy pasted it to the text editor anyway. So put this, bring this here. This is question 5. My input question 5. If I just put it here, so this is the data we have on the right. We have country and capital. So country and capital are each object contains a specific country and its capital city, assume like that. And it asks us to return the country as a key and the capital city as value. So we can do this in multiple ways. Let's just use reduce here. So what we can do is, let's see the intermediate output as we use reduce. So I have reduce, let's call object. So we have two objectives. Each object contains country and capital. So I will use object and accumulator. So the accumulator in my case now, its starting value will be an empty object. I have to use curly braces. So to change an array to an object also, you can do like that. This array, for example, actually this question answers a question that was asked in the chat also. We have this array, which contains, it is an array of objects. Now we are changing it to an object of key value pairs. So once I do like that, then what I want to do is I want to concatenate accumulator, and let me comment this out first, and I want to show you. So let's take the first element, for example. If I do like this, it gives this object, as you can see. So from the original array, the first element is this one. Now from this one, I can use, if I do this one dot country, it is going to give me SA, dot capital, it is going to give me DC. So I can use wrap this using bracket and put capital. Yes, I have this one. Now, to use this one as a key, I have to put it in a curly bracket, and again, the value, take it as the capital, put it as value. I can use capital and put this within curly braces. It becomes this object. Understand this one, what we have here, what we have done here. So what we have done here is, I'm taking the first element. That's why you see the very name of 0. Now the country, I want to make it as key. So dot country. And to make this as key, always you have to make sure you put it within bracket. Without bracket, it doesn't work. For the value, you don't need to put bracket. If you put bracket, it will not give an error message. As far as you close it, still it works. Whereas for the key, if there is no bracket here, it doesn't extract that key value there, and it gives you an error. So you have to make sure this value, the value should be within bracket. So we want to concatenate this key value pair to the original placeholder here, to the accumulator, which is an empty object. So take this, simply this one, I can copy paste it here rather than saying of 0 now, since I want to concatenate and to iterate over all the elements in the array, I have to remove this one. I will put this as object because it iterates itself. It takes care of this one itself for me. Object. So object.country, one bracket is enough in this case. And object.capital, let me see what the error is here. Accumulator, object.country, object.capital. Okay. Oh, okay. This is connected as this is still giving me an error message. Okay. So you see now, if I do like this, we have this variable, which is an array. It contains these two objectives. I'm using reduce, then each element will be called an object. So the first time the value of object is one, the second time is this one. And in it at iteration, it is creating an object here from the key value pairs and concatenating it to accumulator. This placeholder, initially it is an empty object. Then the first one, once it concatenates the value yes and DC, the next time it is concatenate to it France, or this should be Paris. If I do like this, so this will be my final output. So this is question 5. Let's continue the next question. Practice this one. I think it should be similar to the rest of the questions that we have been dealing with. The only thing is here we are creating, this one is important. If you forget to put this, to wrap this within bracket, you may get an error, and try to remember that. Okay, let's continue the next question, question 7. This one, how do you get the order data from the purchase orders data in the provided link? So let me open this one and I will go as quickly as possible. We have this data. It has attributes, as you can see. So the root node is, let me see the zoom level, increase the zoom level so that you can see it. The root node is purchase orders, and under that there is purchase order, and we have address here. So the order date is an attribute under purchase order, as you can see. So if the name of this data is, if this is saved as payload, if I do payload.purchase orders, then it is going to tell me everything here. And to get all the purchase orders, I can put the multi-value selector. So I have this purchase order and this purchase order, they are on the same level. And I have this purchase order also, they are, I think, 3, yeah. So I just put payload that purchase orders dot asterisk purchase order and get the attribute using dot and dot end order date. So let me copy this first and I'll show you. Okay, so come here. The link for that, yeah, you have, since you have the slide, you can just click this link and you get it there if you have not worked or if you haven't tried it before. So I can bring it here, change this to XML, the data is XML, okay, and paste it here. You can save it as XML in your computer and upload it to as example to your Anypoint Studio or copy paste it to Playground here. So I have this data. Now, if I comment this out, question 5. Now payload, if I just write payload, so this is the data, right? I have this data that you can see it is well structured. So under the root node is purchase orders. You can see if I do payload the purchase orders, it is going to give me everything under that. Let's do that and see. Payload dot purchase orders. I have this one. that you see here. Now it is multi-value selector. You can see in the tutorial we have the multi-value selector. Get the multi-value selector we use. Let me open this in a new tab. And we are talking about this one, multi-value selector. It is dot asterisk. So if you put, like, if you have this object, for example, if you just use dot name, it is going to give you the first value. But if you do dot asterisk name, it is going to give you all name values. Let's copy this and write. Here I will create var, and let me give the variable name test, for example. And now, if I put test, we have this data, right? This is our variable. Now, if I put dot name, see, if I put dot name, why doesn't it be this? Dot name, you see, it gives me the first value. You see, oh, you see here, it's giving me the name value for this one. And we have the multi-value selector. We simply add asterisk here. It gives me an array. Remember, it is an array. It gives me all the values corresponding to this key. They are on the same level. The difference with the descendant selector and multi-value selector is these are on the same level, whereas with the descendants, it could be anywhere. It is like, as you can see here, for example, it is nested data. Okay, so we can do the same here. But if you see here, the order date is an attribute of purchase order. So we come here, if I put, we have purchase order key, I will use multi-value selector here. So it gives me an array of all the purchase orders, right? You see purchase orders, this square bracket. So this is an array. The different purchase orders are here, but the attribute is not showing. And we say to access attributes, we do dot, and we use the end sign, the at sign. You see, even like it, when I put dot at, it gives me the different attributes it has. If it doesn't have any attribute, this will not show up. And you can see here, purchase order has two attributes: purchase order number and order date. And remember here, the values are not key value pairs. They are equals to, not colon, but equals to, like you see, purchase order number equals to this value. There is no comma here. Order date equals to this value. I'm saying this because when we create it, on the other hand, we are going to use key value pairs and separate them with commas. So now we are almost done here. If I get here, if I just need the order date only, I just put dot at order date. So it returns this order date. So this is what you have to practice with that in the playground. Just don't, like, for example, if try the code chunk by chunk. First, you say you remove this, see what is happening, what it did. Then you add the next part. So which means it will be up to this one. Then after that, you add dot add. Then you see this one. Once you see this one, then it should be easy to add the order date and get the order date values. Okay, paste. Oh, don't have it. Okay, purchase or payload dot or purchase order is dot asterisk purchase order and dot add order date. Purchase order, let me see. Purchase order dot add order date. So this is the answer. Let's continue the next question. Question 8. This one, I think we have done similar things. Okay, let's quickly do this one also. So I have when you have data, I think the question, if it is related to data, you cannot do it in DataWeave Playground. it could have limitations on the number of data file, the number of rows, and other issues. It is better if you create your own project. So that question I have is how many airports are in the Eastern time zone? This one, let me quickly just for review. We have done similar things before. So first, as we have been doing, make sure, let me create another one here, start from scratch. So you create a project and you drag and drop transform message to create a new flow for you. Then once you come here, I will change this to JSON, and you want to add the data as payload to upload it. Just click here, define metadata. Then you click add, you give it file name, and you point it where the data exists in your machine. I have airports JSON here as example. As you can see in the drop down here, you select JSON example, not schema. Example, and give it the example. Okay, where it is in your computer. In mine, it is airports JSON file. I can do like this. It should detect it. Then click select.
Hello, doctor. I think your screen is not shared.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Yeah, now it's good.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I'm doing this if in case there are a couple of people who were not there in the previous classes. So when you have example data to work with that, it is good if you create a project in Point Studio and then drag and drop transform message. Then you can now change it to JSON and you upload the data as example data. To do that, you click here, you click define metadata, and you click add. Let me say, I will call this, for example, airports 2, since I have airports 1 JSON. Create. Then once it creates the name, you give it the example where it is in your computer. It should be in your computer. Then that will be your input payload, and you can work using that. So we have seen this a couple of times in previous classes. It is good if you practice that. So for this one here, I change this to the data is JSON, and here it is an example, not a schema, and tell it where the example data is located. It should be JSON data because I said it is JSON. Then select. Now the question is, this one, once it, now you see an array is here with the values. If I save this, and if you can click preview here, and if I put payload, I will see the key value pairs, right, of the airport's data. The question is, how many airports are in the Eastern time zone? TZ equals to -5. So we do filter, and this is an object, as you can see. So $sign, each $sign here corresponds to each airport. So we have to put $sign dot. You see the keys here. TZ equals to -5. To check for equality, I use down equal sign. We say, so it gives me records for this time zone. Now to get to answer the question, because it says how many are there. As you can see, since this is just an array, I can use size of. So this will be 1. As you can see, this is 1 element in the array, 1 is another element in the array, and so on. So size of, I do like this. It shows 362. However, if I change this rather than putting .tz, if I put T-zone, the time zone name, to American New York, it gives 360. I think there are 2 records without 2 rows where the t-zone value is empty. That is why it just gives 360. If you notice that, if you confuse it, I checked it in the Excel file, and the reason is because there are a couple of records without this TZ value. So here also I will come filter $sign of t-zone equals to oh no, what was it, America. Let me comment it up here to see. Then I copy this and paste it here. So as we have been saying, if to watch the video on YouTube, you may not see the code here by default. Based on the internet, the quality could be low. So you have to go to the settings and make it the maximum quality, that maximum resolution. That way it clearly shows the code. So the same thing here also, I can use size of, now I think this one gives 160. Yeah. They should give the same number of rows. However, as I said, there are 2 rows with missing t-zone. Okay. Anyway, we should not spend more than this on here. And this question, it says about applying 10% discount. 10% discount means just multiplying by 90% or multiplying by 1 minus 0.1 or multiplying by 90 over 100. The same thing, or payload minus 10 over 100 times payload, which you can use all ways. So that one also I have it. Let me quickly show you here and we'll continue the next one. 10% discount is this one. So I'm using a map. So for such operations, we use a map. We can also use reduce. That I have new price here, as you can see. It is original price, which is value.price. Here I have in map value index, value times 0.9. This is 10% discount. Or you can also do new price. My comma should be here. New price 2. I can also do like this one times 1 minus 90 minus 10% means 10 over 100, like this. Both ways give the same value because 1 minus 10 over 100 is just 0.9. So you see here 16.2, 16.22 repeated, 90.07, 90.07 repeated. So this is very, you have to make sure you understand this. This is common interview question, and it will be something that you will work on regularly also. Transforming data from one to the other, from one unit to the other, and modifying it, like increases, making increases, decreases, and so on. And let's continue the next one. Okay, this one is just replace. Yeah, I think this one many of you know it already. When you have, especially when you have string data for replacing any values within the string, we use the replace function under the core module, which is here. Go read about that if you don't remember it. The question here is, we have social media is one of the greatest inventions of this century. So let me write it here. Probably today we are going to take more time if that's okay with you. Okay, so copy this here and put it here. Okay. So the question here is, yeah, replace. Okay, let's see. So I will remove this. Social media is one of the greatest innovations of this century. We have this string, as you can see. Now we replace it, social media with blockchain, another innovation. Let's say we want to replace it. So we just use replace. Then you put what you want to replace. It could be within brackets or just without bracket. Also the string itself. Let's replace, we say social media. Then after that, you use with, you want to replace it with, what do you want to replace it with? Blockchain. So as you can see, and greatest is interesting. So this social media has been replaced with blockchain here. You can see in the output here. And you can chain multiple you can replace multiple things just by chaining. Chaining means continuing. The input of the previous one will be the output of the previous operation will be the input for the next one. So now when I add another replace, this one will be my input to the next replace. Things like that. So if now I add replace, we say innovations with interesting, like this. So we can't continue replacing. The one thing you have to remember is we just keep chaining it. I can say here, even if I say blockchain, this one rather than innovation, if I just change blockchain with AI, now you can see the different, what the output. So initially is social media, right? Next, social media, that input, social media, replace it is with blockchain. That output now is an input to the next replace, and blockchain, we are replacing it with AI. So practice that, especially this is important, especially when we want to create file names from datetime. Let's see, I have this now function. It gives me, usually you may not want these dashes, or you may want to use only date and time from here. So let's create a file name from this date and time. We can just, if I put, I can select only the first 10 elements, let's say 0 to 10. Okay. Let me see where we have, which one is that? Okay, 0 to 10. I see. Okay, so 0 to 18 or to 10. Let's see. Only if we want just the date, year, month, day. So I put this 9. Now let's say we want to replace underscores, the dashes with underscore. So replace dash with underscore. And usually, if you have data coming in at more like daily or coming in a couple of times per month, then your file name should include not only the month and date, but also time. So in that case, we may put, if I continue up to 18, you see here we have time, this T, I may want to replace T and the columns also by underscore. So I could just using replace with, just continue doing that. So T also, I will replace it with underscore, T replace with underscore. Now T is gone. I don't want these columns also. I can, let's say I cannot use it I cannot use them in file names. The same thing, replace colon with it will replace both columns with underscore. Now we see this two underscores, they replace a column. So this way you practice with replace with function also. I will move faster. This one here it says convert the first name to key and the last name to value in the data given below. So this one, let me copy paste it and share the data with you. If you want to try it. So this is the data. Now we want rather than first name Solomon, last name Mulu, for example, we want it to be Solomon as key, colon, Mulu as value. And we want each one of them to be an object. So I can go to DataWeave Playground again. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So if I continue like this, and doing this like this, this is the variable I have. So we want to create key value pairs from this one. You can use map, you can use reduce, both ways can work. Try with both of them. For now, with us here in the class, for the sake of time, let's just use only one of them, just map. So I will just use map, and it is, each one is object. So I can do object and index of object, or simply index. And the output, I want it to be an array of objects. If you just want it to be an array of objects, you have to remember, you have to create this curly braces for us. You can see here I have an array of integer objects, and inside here I want to create key value pairs. And to create, we say to create a key, you have to put it inside brackets. So here object dot first name is my key, and then my value will be object dot last name. So this one answers our question. And try it with Redis also, because we have done similar questions. This one is the only thing that you have to remember here, putting this within bracket. Okay. Next question. This one is about date and time. I think this question can answer that. This one is my friend's itinerary from Paris to Atlanta. And the question was, how long will he stay in the air or in the sky? And let me see the data where I have it. Okay, anyway, we can take it from here. So I think what you have to do here is, this is Frankfurt, Germany. If you don't remember the time zone, you just check Frankfurt, Germany time zone. So the time zone is +2, you see here. So it says GMT, which is UTC, the same thing. So this is Central European time zone. So I put +2 when I create the starting time. And Atlanta is the time zone for Atlanta is the same as the Eastern time zone, right? I think. Atlanta, Georgia time zone is -4. You see here it is GMT -4. So we can come here, put vertical lines, and where was it? So this is October 19, 11:50 their time. So the time, the first one is in Frankfurt local time. Atlanta also, it is local time for Atlanta, for the destination or wherever the place is. So I can come here. This is 2022. October is 10. It says 19, and then put T for time. and the time is 11:50. 11:50. And then for time zone, it is plus because it is to the east of GMT plus 02 plus wait plus let's see, plus I forgot this. Give me a second how it was. So this is hour, minute, second, plus, let me see. Let me see. If you forget this, what I usually do is I see from now, what does it mean? Or this is Z. Okay, and let's see what we shared here. Okay, it is this one. Okay, plus, oh, I see. I have to add colon 00. Okay, so here it was colon 00. I see. And now minus, yeah, this one, the colon 00. I will not forget it. I have next time. Okay. Colon 00. Now this is the starting time and the destination is given Atlanta 16 local time. So come here, just I can copy paste this and change this to 16:00. But I know this one is -4. Now I replace it to minus rather than plus. The time zone should always be with plus or minus to the east or to the west of the GMT. So if I put -4, now it shows me the time that it will take him. It will take him, it says 10 hours and 10 minutes. So you can get the difference between two dates and date times just by using minus like this, as far as it is in period format within vertical lines, and also the time zone for, you have to remember plus and minus, not only the hour, it is in 2 digits, like 07, 05, it has to be plus or minus, but you have to add also colon 00 here. Without the colon 00, if I just remove this, it will not work. So, yep, that is it. Let's continue the next question. Okay, these questions, I shared them here so that you can go practice with the questions in the DataWeave playground. There are interesting questions there. Since I will share the answers, I think you can practice. You can get the answer from the projects that I will share, but we can see a couple of them. Like, for example, we have exercise 7.5. It says, if you go here, tutorial 7.5 is this one. So it is under reduce, as you can see, and the question is here. So it says, from this input, get this output. You can quickly do this, just copy it, create a variable, var my array or something, give it any name, and so this array name is that original data. As you can see here, let me move this to here. But we want to create the values. Okay, then we want to make the values of name as keys, as you can see, and the IDs as values. So you can use reduce here, reduce and element accumulator. So this is the output, as you can see, it is an object. You expect an object. So put empty object first and append to it. Append to it. So we do like this. Now to this empty placeholder or accumulator, we are going to concatenate another object, double plus, and create an object here. And so from each one of them, from element of name, we want to make it a key. Always have to remember how to put it within brackets. So element dot name, that's the key, and the value will be element dot ID. So if you are right, also it gives you, it tells you here, it notifies you if it is correct. So yeah, do all these questions here. There are different questions, and if you are not able to answer them, you can check the answers in the project that I'm going to share. I will take another 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and we will finish. Okay. The challenges from the DataWeave playground, I will skip them. I will just give you the answer only. Or let me see, maybe if 8.2, what is 8.2? Challenge 8.2. Okay. 8.2 here, it says, see this one, what it says is, that makes the keys lowercase and the values uppercase. Let's do this one, and then we'll skip the other exercises here and give you as a homework. Plus, I will provide the answers for you to check. So let's do this one together. Key values. So we can use first name is a key here. Let me see which one it is. This is 8.2. Is here. Okay. So let's create an array from this one. I will put var my array. I'm calling it my array. Now we can use map or reducer. Let's do it with map, and you can try it with reduce yourself. My array. Then map item index. So the index starts from 0. It is just raw number. The item is the first time it is this one, the next time it is this one, and so on. It is iterating. So we create another array of objects, and we are going to combine. If I just put here item, if I just put like this, nothing changes, right? If I just put item, so the first time the item is this one, the second time it is this one, and we say we use map to process an elements in an array, whereas to process elements in an object we use map object. So one is the item from map, we want to further process it using map object. So the first time from map, its item value is this one. So I can process this one using the map object, which will have key value index arguments. So item map object, then value key index. So try to understand here. We are combining both map and object. Why are we doing like that? Because so map is iterating over the elements of the array, and each element of the array is an object, and we want to process the keys and values of each object. So we use map object to iterate over the values of the object. We use map to iterate over the values of an array. We use map to iterate over the values of an object. So map object, key value index. Now the question is, I have to make sure these are distinct. So if I call this index 1, let me call this index 2. Make sure these ones are separate. You should not have the same name here. So if you say this item 1, then this should be item 2, and so on. So here I want to create an object, and in that object it says the key. I want to make it lowercase. So I put lower key. That's the key. And then the value, we want to make it uppercase, upper value. So let me explain this in detail here. So what we are doing here is this is an array. With arrays, we use map, not map object. Then the output of map will be an input for map object. Like we do object.map object, then map object. We are doing this example is the same thing here. It is iterating over the elements of the array, which in turn are objects, and then we have this map object taking each item, which will have key value pairs, and then we have the key value pairs here, and the key, we are changing it, converting it to lowercase, and the value to uppercase. The only thing is here you have to remember this one, you have to wrap it in a square bracket. So try to practice this one and all the other questions there also. Let's do this one. This is interesting. This data, let me share it with you. From string, this is common case. You may have string and you may be interested. You may want to create other data types from it. So from this string, let's create this output of key value pairs. So I will share the data. You see here, it is just one airport from the airport's data, but it is in free text format. So I will bring it to the DataWeave playground here. And as you see here, if I just put my input, so this is the data, just string data. This one, I will remove this, not to make my screen busy. Okay, so the question is, as you can see, we want to create key value pairs where the keys are name, latitude, longitude, altitude, time zone, and t-zone, and the values are from here. But how do we do that? We can use two functions here. We have, it says use split with one, split by, and reduce. So the split by, you can see what input it takes from here from the documentation. We specify what to use to split the string. You can use, it can be comma, it can be colon, and so on. In our case, it is this semicolon. So I can put split by semicolon. Now it creates an array that is C. Split by semicolon, that string has been changed to an array, and each array is string, each element in the array is string of key value pairs of the, key value pairs, but there is equals to sign here. So here, for this one, we can use map, you can use reduce. So let's use reduce in our case, and you can do like this. Our final output will be an array that contains key value pairs. So my initial value will be empty array. Now to this one, what I want to do is the accumulator, I want to concatenate to it concatenate. What I want to concatenate is, what was the question? Oh, it is an object. The output, final output is an object, not an array, as you can see here. So I want this to be empty object. So create an object from each element here. So we have splitted it here. Each object means, okay, let me put, so here, the element for the radius will be, the first element will be this one, the second element will be this one. So I want to split using equals to sign and take the first value as key, the second value as the value. So here in this empty object, so what I want to do is element, I want to split it further. So element split by equals to sign now, and take the first value as key. To take the first value, I will put square bracket of 0. Let me finish this and I will explain it. And the value will be simply the second one. So for that one, I will do element split by equals to sign and take the second value. So the second value, its index is 1 because it starts from 0. Let's see what I have done wrong here. So accumulator element, okay. Oh, not. I use since I use Python. In Python we use dot sign. Use it to that one. So okay, here empty object accumulator plus. Let's see what went wrong here. Split by equals to sign. Probably what could be the reason is, let me take this one here. No. That's very interesting. So I have put here and another one here. Okay. So let me explain what I have done here. I guess up to this part, the first split by, you understand it. The string, it split it by colon. So the first element is this one, second element is this one, third element is this one, the fourth element is this one, and so on. To that one, once I create this array, I want to use reduce and create key value pairs again using another split by. So split by element accumulator, our accumulator is empty object. Then we want to create key value pairs. The first, further, we want to split it using equals to sign. We want to split it. The reason we want to split it equals to sign is, see, we have equals to sign here. So we want to split it using equals to sign, and then it will create an array of 2 elements from each string here. So the first value we want to make it a key. The second value we want to make it just a value. That is what I have done here. Probably spend some more time to understand it, but I'm using split by 2 times. One time using colon, another time using equals to, and the order also matters. Okay. We have this one. This one is interesting one. We have this object, and we want to reverse them. So reversing, probably to make sure I don't miss more interesting questions. Let's see. Let's first see the checking if it is a prime number or not before coming to here. I will prioritize 2 more interesting questions. Maybe we'll see this one. And what is this one? Yeah, since I will share the answers with the questions also, it should not be difficult. You can practice that. But remember, these are kind of questions that you will encounter in interviews and its certification. If you spend more time on this and if you master it, then the certification will not. And the questions you encounter in certification will be much easier. Let me see. Yeah. Assume you are given a prime number, use DataWeave to answer if it is. Assume you are given a number, use DataWeave to answer if it is a prime number. We know a prime number is a number that is divisible only by itself and by 1, right? So let's do it here. And comment this out. And so first is, assume you are given number. Let's call, you are given a number. Let's call it given number. And let's say it is, it says 347 the first time. So is this prime or not? We can, just by seeing it, we may not know it, but we want to create, we want to write some code that tells us whether it is prime number or not. Okay, so what do you want to do? A prime number is a number that is divisible only by itself and by 1, which means if I create an array of numbers from 2 to this number minus 1, and if I divide this given number by that array, the remainder should never be 0. So let me first create an array and I will show you what I mean. If I say bar my array or something, what is array name? Okay, oh, there is an array name here. So, okay, I will call it my array. We said prime number is divisible only by 1 and itself. So let's create an array from 2 to given number minus 1. Minus 1, because it is, we know it is divisible, and a prime number is divisible only by itself and 1. So we are creating all possible numbers from 2 to the given number minus 1. And if we try the given number, if we divide by any value in this array, if we get a 0, that means that number is not prime, because it is also divisible by other numbers, not only by itself and 1, but also by other numbers. But if for all the numbers in the array, if the remainder is always non-zero, that means the number is divisible only by 1 and itself is the logic we want to check. So this is my array. You see, it is just an array, right? See here, if I put it here. So it is from 2 to 346 here. Okay, 346, right? From 2 to 346. So what we are saying is 347 should not be divisible by any number in this array. If it is divisible by any of them, it is not a prime number. So what do? We can use map here, and let's call create a variable called results, for example. So what we want to do is we can use my array map value index. Now we want to get the remainder when we divide given number, this given number, when we divide it by value, which in this case value will be the first time 2, then 3, then 4, up to 346. This one will give us the remainders. Here are the remainders. We see this, all these remainders. There is no 0 here, but rather than visually checking it, we want to use a function that tells us if 0 is there or not. And there is a function called contains. It checks if something is here. This one contains. You can check it here. Here, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have this array contains 2. This should return 2 because 2 is there. And yeah, you can. We have also this data anyway. We can use contains to check with that. So once I have my results here. Oh, my result is, wait, give me a second. I didn't test it yet. So these are the remainders. So the first time when we divide 347 by 2, the remainder is 1. The next one, when we divide 347 by 3, the remainder is 2, and so on. And there is no 0 here, but we can check contains 0. It should tell us true or false. So if it doesn't contain 0, that means it is not divisible by any number except by 1 and itself. If I change this, let's say, for example, 8, now it should tell me true, because 8 is divisible by 2 itself, it is divisible by 4, and so on. So this one, how do we change it to one code, for example, one function? One thing, you can write a function itself here. Let's even write a function where the input is a number and then it returns the output. So to do that, always to create function, we using fun, and then the function name, check if prime, I'll call it check if prime, then input number will be the input. The input number is any number that we pass, equals to, we put here, actually we have to use copying and so on. Okay, let's leave this one for now. We'll talk, I have a session on that. Let's use answer it using if else clause here. So what I can do here is create here, bring this here, and I have this array, then bring this one here, then bring containers next to it, okay. So what we have done here is we have this array and map value index. We are checking. Let me remove containers first. We want to check if 0 is here. So we have to wrap this within brackets. This will be our input to containers. If I don't put this one under bracket, it is going to check containers for each one of them. So that's why I had multiple true false values. If I do this, it returns 1. Now we can use if clause. So if this one equals to true, not prime, else prime, okay, else prime. Let me see, okay. I have to further wrap this. I think creating variables and using multiple variables could be easier to understand. This one is getting too complex. We have to put multiple brackets. So this one, it is better if we just use this approach. And final result, let's say, var final result. You can put if results contains 0, then not prime, else prime, and this one you have to put it like this, and final result. I hope that you have okay. Yeah, okay. Okay. I guess my head is also frozen. We'll stop here, I think, and I will share the project. So see this one, what we have done. We have a given number. It was 347. Then we created an array from 2 to that number -1, and we said if it is prime, it should not be divisible by any of these numbers. How do we check that if it is divisible or not? We use map, and we divide 347 by each value in this array, and we get the remainder. If the remainder is 0, then it is divisible, but if the remainder is not 0, then it is not divisible. That's what we are doing here. So we have my array, map, value index, then we are getting the modulus when we divide the given number by value. We have these remainders. Actually, this one, rather than saying results, I can make it remainders. So these remainders, I want to check them if they contain any 0. And this final result, I can call it final result, or check if prime, whether prime or not. Now let's check this one. To other example we had is 567. 567. This one, it says 567 is prime. Okay, let me see here. 567, not prime. It's still not prime. How come 567 it says prime? What did I make? But if it contains 0, it is not prime. Yes, it is prime. Let's see remainders. So this should be, I see there are zeros here for sure. So this should be, it should be not prime. That's why does it say prime? Okay. If remainder contains 0, which is true by itself, if it contains 0, it will return true or false. It should be not prime, else prime. Okay, so this one is true or false. The containers, it returns true or false. Here, as you can see, here is true. So if this is true, then not prime, else prime. And so 567 contains 0, which this will return true. Then this is true. What it should return is this value, not prime. And let's see, 9 is divisible by 3. It says not prime. 11 is a prime number. 13 is also a prime number. 15 is divisible by 3 and 5, so it should not be prime, and so on. So yeah, I will share the project. Actually, my plan was to cover all of them, but I think I am so tired. You also should be very tired by now. So just spend time, practice it. I will share the Google slide and also the Google slide and the project. Let's do this one first. The reversing an object, maybe that one. We'll use plug. Where is it? Reverse order of keys in an object. Okay. This one should not take us more than 2-3 minutes. I will share data here. So the question is reverse like this one. Name John, age 45, occupation IT, birth year 1995. We want it to start with birth year 1995, occupation IT, age 45, and name John. So John, we want it to be at the bottom. It is not necessarily that the order matters, but we want to just master the functionalities, the application of the functions. So this one, I will comment it out. And this is the data. It is an object. It is an object. So we can use it. You can use a couple of approaches. We can use reduce. You can use order by with reduce. So what you can do is, okay, my data. So first, to convert an object to an array, we can use reduce or plug. And once we have the array, then we can order it using the index. Then that array, to reverse it back to an object, we can use reduce. So let's do both of them. So I did this. I will remove this, make it simply like this, and I want to create key value pairs, an object of key value pairs. So the key will be simply this key, and I have this value. So I changed the object to an array, as you can see, an array of objects of key value pairs. Now we want to this array, we know how to reverse an array. We can use -1 to 0, for example, to reverse it. If I just do like this, and -1 to 0, see, it reverses it. But here now, here it is at the bottom, here it is at the top. Occupation is the second from the bottom, now it is the second from the top, and so on. Now we now understand how, once we have this, we know how to change an array to an object. We can use reduce. So for this one, I'll just put this within bracket, or you can create intermediate variables, then reduce object. My accumulator now, its initial value will be empty object. Then what I will do here is the accumulator concatenate to the accumulator key value pairs. Or what is it? Object. So if I do like this, now it gives me the original object with the key value pairs in reverse order. Name is at the bottom here, it was at the top. So yeah, remember, what you have to remember is an object, to change it to an array, you can use as a reduce or plug. And an array, to change it to an object, you can use reduce. Reduce has multiple functionality. Actually, I was sharing multiple questions on replacing other functions with reduce. So I will share all these questions here, this Google slide, spend time, do them. And if you have any questions, you can share in the channel, and either me or others will answer those questions. I think this is enough for today.